I've said this before, but I'll say it again, that I think...
We're on a press junket.
We're on a press junket. Go on, get a load.
What do you recall most of that time?
We need to preserve the men.
Firstly, it was amazing. It was so incredible. And I finished watching the show this morning, so I was like, I need a hug. I need to really steel myself. And even though there were moments of like, you know, love and mateship was a big one, it's such a difficult subject matter. So what does this project mean to all of you when you kind of read through the script, read the book? What were the big themes that kind of spoke to you?
I mean, I felt like it was so daring in its nature and its telling and retelling of, you know, a very historical time in Australia's culture. I've said this before, but I'll say it again, that I think...
We're on a press junket.
We're on a press junket. Go on, get a load. Is, you know, Justin has a way of, instead of looking away, forcing you to continue watching and to be faced with the sort of brutality of the human experience. And I think that is a very important aspect of this show, a very important aspect of our history, as well as, I think, you know, counteracting that with the epic tales of love and loss is,
I'm curious about, like, was it a lot to feel those things when you watch something?
Yeah. Yeah, I found it to be really confronting. And I think as a human, we want to forget the cruelties of war. We want to like turn a blind eye because we like lovely, fluffy things. So watching it and like forcing yourself to kind of be like, okay, this is what people went through is really confronting, but also I think really important. So like, it's good to have this tale out there. It's important to share these stories, but God, it's sometimes a hard watch, especially in your scenes. Rough stuff.
Rough stuff.
Yeah. But yeah.
Look, I think it's interesting. We live in a time now that's so divisive, and people have, you know, knee-jerk objections to anything that makes them feel uncomfortable, right? So, you know, and it's sort of you're allowed to object. Oh, I don't like that. You know, that's triggering for me, or that's all of those things. So we have a really low tolerance to how cruel we can be as human beings. But to see a show, to watch a story, and we also, you know, we're in a short form world these days where people watch things that are 5 seconds long, you know, and they just digest it and eat it and eat it and eat it like sugar. And to watch something like that, a longer form story like that, there's a connection that happens in that story, because I think essentially the modern world and the way we consume entertainment and content as such is depriving us of the connection with the humanity that exists within us. Sorry if I'm going.
No, I'm loving
I don't
this.
know. I just
Keep
thought,
going.
But your experience of it is interesting to me because there's this beautiful balance in the storytelling of the cruelties and the hardship, but the how we just endure and we make light of and we joke about, but we still witness these difficult things. So to take an audience on that journey, in a sense, you're witnessing these difficult things and you're feeling something and you're having to live with that feeling instead of just, you know, it's very easy to just reject something that makes you feel uncomfortable, which is, I think, a habitual thing that we've come to in the world.
Yeah. No, I agree.
So good for you for sitting through and watching it, because it does have an impact, and you do feel more human when you do.
I do wonder though, like obviously you have to step into these characters, and I think all three of you would have had quite a different experience on set. You know, you had very different kind of roles in this film. So what was the vibe like on set for all three of you, stepping into these characters and really embodying them?
I mean, it's interesting for the POW side of things, because obviously, you know, the large part of what we're portraying is pretty horrific, and there's moments of levity and light throughout that timeline. But for the most part, yeah, it's pretty grim on camera. But it wasn't that way on set, and I think it's a credit to all the boys, but it's a credit to Justin that he was able to sort of. He's very adroit in the way he directs. That he's not wasting any time, but he's also giving you all the time that you need. Everything that you're doing is valuable. And he has a way of really taking care of all the actors. So, I mean, it's some of the hardest scenes I've ever filmed, but it's also the most fun I ever had on a set. Yeah. And it's, you know, there was a real bond between those boys, and it was very, jovial, and we were all sort of, a bunch of hungry young men rocking up to work each day, kind of, a bit manic, just ready to get into it. So, it was quite an overwhelming sort of feeling, but one of positivity most of the time.
Yeah. And what about you, Olivia? Because you've got this character who is so strong and steadfast, and there's kind of like this duality to her where she knows that, Dorigo has had this affair and has lived this other life, but she still sticks by him. How did you kind of conceptualize that with your character and live that on set?
Absolutely. I mean, I think first and foremost, like, Jacob's such a great scene partner. I think Sean's, an incredible writer. Again, Justin provides an amazing set for play and experimentation. I think that, like you said, she's very steadfast. She's very, she has an inner compass that she follows instinctively and sort of has this unwavering inner knowing. And I think, for me, it was enjoyable. It was very different to obviously what Thomas experienced, very different to what this guy also experienced, Simon. But I had a great, sorry, I literally just went.
Blank. That's his name. I know his face.
This guy.
Apologies.
Yeah.
God.
It's all right. Susie. No,
but yeah,
we're all in different. We're all in different.
Yeah, we've really only
stories.
met. Yeah. So it's been. Yeah, it was a joy.
Hard to believe, isn't it?
Yeah, the connection here. I'm really feeling it.
Yeah.
It's been a long couple of days. Been really early.
Big night last night. We're all here.
Yeah, but no, it was a joy.
Yeah,
Truly,
okay.
it was a joy,
Yeah.
and I think the excitement of collaborating also with Heather Mitchell, who plays the older version of me. We both, I was inspired by her. She's an Australian
Great
icon.
casting too.
Yeah, and
The
she
two of
has
you
this
is great
integrity that I knew that I wanted to also bring to Ella.
Okay,
So, yeah.
amazing.
A dignity that she carried.
Yeah.
In my part of the story, look, I was just trying to bring a bit of enthusiasm and optimism.
Yeah.
We know, in the story where it's going to go in a way, like, the Titanic's going to sink. But so you sort of dance around over here and bring some sort of other energy to it, which it kind of relates a little bit to what you're saying.
Yeah.
And that's an interesting thing, that we can go through difficult things and still make jokes or still have that sort
The
of
levity.
Yeah.
Of those scenes, which I feel like it needed. But yeah, thank you. That is my time. But I
Thank
really
you.
appreciate having a chat.
That's
Sorry
good.
about that.
Cheers.